Good evening from Mr. J. I'm here today with you guys on a evening broadcast because I really wanted to ensure that I pass this good news because I want to reiterate probably like 150 times how much this is about love, and love is what we're going to share tonight. I have the Bible open in front of me. Some of you guys can't see it, but it's open to a specific verse. Some of you've heard it like a million times. Some of you don't like using it. I realize that the algorithm doesn't like that I share scriptures. Like, I understand people don't like a book that's really, really useful in guiding them while they're on earth. But that's what I'm going to talk about today. In other news, the idea that your children's children might be affected by some agenda that's getting pushed right now is more or less what I'm here to talk to you guys about. As a father myself, I have an interest in this topic because of love. I wanted to share it because of the people that I love and their journeys through life, and how much I love them now and how much that love's never changed. So, for starters, I'm not trying to classify myself as somebody that treats anybody different by how they behave, act, or um, look in a sexual manner towards anybody else. 99% of people I don't even pay attention to all the time. Don't have any social media. There's nowhere for me to like a photo or follow you on Instagram. I don't do that stuff anymore. But the idea of me as a person towards the world, I can tell you this. I have someone very close to me who we fought in combat together. I'm not going to list his name, but this individual just happens to love different people. So one day I tell him, hey, dude, let's go to a bar. Because if you guys don't remember, the Pirate King used to love scotch. And we went to this bar, and he brought somebody that he loved. Do you know what? I bought them both drinks, Mike and Paul, whatever his name was. The point being that there was no judgment. No one cared. This man probably see me undressed in the shower, still didn't care because we were fighting evil. Hear me out. There's someone that I share DNA with that 100% loves people just like them. And there's no judgment from my side because as an imperfect person, all I want to do is love them too. Like I love you and be there for you as a person. Like we're thicker than that. And the idea, the concept, the formality of their relationships to me as someone that I hope society still accepts as a heterosexual male gets to witness that society accepts them too. I'm sorry if I got lost a little track there. I just started thinking about how weird it would be if society stopped accepting heterosexual people. But I don't think that's the case by any means. But the idea that they don't care about what I do in my personal relationships, and I don't ask them about what they do in their personal relationships, because to be honest, there's more on the earth than to delve into that with somebody. Oh, when's the first time you realized you like chicks, Josh? And I'm like, dude, I was very, 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 very young when I realized I'm a boy, and that the natural progress of me socializing was to work on my ability to court and be accepted by the other side of the spectrum. I didn't know that. But looking back, that's what those extra social rudiments kind of were. And I worked through them like anybody else socially at the time. And at the time, I'm not going to say this person's name, but there was a, how can I say this, late blooming girl. That doesn't make sense. There was a girl that the other girls didn't hang out with because honestly, she was just different. And because the other girls started developing, and this one just skateboarded and hung out with dudes, um, they started making fun of her. Like people would make fun of her, and you could see that bullying happening. But I have curly hair, and let me tell you something. My own friends would make fun of me. Don't, if you have the name like Josh, share with another Josh, and your pigment is just like a little bit darker, you'll instantly get like acronyms that you don't even associate with. You're like, wow, dude, I wouldn't associate with that. And not like in a weird way, because you don't understand it. Like when somebody talks to about race to me or any of my brothers, we're kind of like googly eyed, like human, dude, real human. I think a lot of mulatto people think like that, but the world classifies us by, oh yeah, the idea, the idea that someone over the age of 18 can go get a tattoo, can go and, you know, vote. The idea that that person now has the understanding that they made it through this much of life to where socially we accept it, like this person can make it, at least these decisions. That idea doesn't transcend to our youth. Like, oh, well, my 6 year old needs to be voting for Joe Biden, you know, like, I don't have a 6 year old, everybody. The idea that these people have this agenda, the idea that they have this agenda. This is the question, and this is why I'm live. Like anybody can watch this, anybody can comment on it. YouTube can share all this right now, and I don't want to say this without any love. And I'm gonna start with the one that most people don't like: heterosexual, right? Lesbian, gay, bi, trans, cute, question, and more. What all those had the same thing in common. They're all about sex. And I don't want anybody but the adults in positive role model vicinity to answer those questions. Not some bureaucrat, not some voter, not some body else's parents of that child. But how about this? If that parent entrusts that teacher with that child, and that child entrusts that teacher with any type of verbal communication, and that parent or teacher decides to verbally communicate that back to the parents to verbally understand what their child might be going through, great. If the child talks to one of the parents and the parents clear it up for the child, like, okay, well, I love you, and that's never going to change. The idea that you're just going to grow up still is what you need to do. So focus on school. Go focus on school. The I love you doesn't stop, you know, and that's because when the individual feels that they're loved as who they are, there's no need to be anything different, in my opinion. And then when they get old enough to decide what kind of sex, I guess that's the question, right? They should be old enough to not need to talk to anybody about it. They don't need to talk to anybody about it because they're old enough. And if they're talking to somebody about it, then I wonder what they're talking to them about. And that's the real reason why I'm making this video. Like, there should be no teenager mutilating themselves and saying that it was natural. Like, if you're a girl, you're a girl. Can't change that. 100 years from now, can't change that. There's no scientific way to change that. Genetically, who you are is who you will be. Now, if, and this is a hypothetical, right? You feel like, hey, this ain't it. You know, I can't deal with, like, males deal with testosterone, like, savagely. Like, the more testosterone a male has, the more savagely he deals with it. So some males will be prone to just be like, oh man, everything looks great. Men go through these years, and it's I don't know what to call it. But if you're a dude and there's something else in life that takes that away from you, who's to say that you can't live a good life? Who's to say that you can't live a right life? Because nobody does it right. That's the piece. But when do those things become yours? When you become 18, when those things don't fall back onto people that are responsible for raising you and not having ideals that are shared by the populace. It's like everybody's jumping off a bridge. Hold on, kid. Wait. Step back. In the description, I talk about the idea, because this is all this is. All this empirical, all this, I feel like this stuff has been around forever. It's old. It's so old that the unproductive side of it has, the unproductive side of fornication, the unproductive side of sodomy, the unproductive side of perversion, all these things that complicate the person, the mind, the body, the spirit, have all, it's nothing new. There's nothing new there, but the toil is there. Or like the peace and love. Like, you find true love, something that you love so much that you want to do anything for, then you do it. No one can tell you what that is. No one can tell you what that is. If you put it in the right place, you'll find the right kind of love, and everybody knows that. Here's one. Do you know that the most actual 100% empirical abuse I've ever seen of that community was done by people in that community? Because they weren't LGBTQ enough, you know? And I stay in my lane. Like, I'd be over there asking the best Christian baking cake place to make a cake for 500 people that want to share this cursed union of people. I don't know, maybe it's blessed. Who knows? Who knows? Who are you to judge that? I can say this, that marriage, by definition, is the idea, once again, of something being totally true and right, of building a family. That's what marriage is centered around. The difficulties with people building a family, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I have the answer to that. I have no idea what kind of difficulties. I know it's difficult to have a family when it's anybody. It takes a village. So the idea that somebody's just going to magically get it right, call me, please. I want all the advice. Give me all the answers. We'll write it down together and we'll send it out to all the other parents. But children can barely take care of themselves. We all know that. We all know that, but yet there's some people, like, who are these doctors? There's some people, like, why is this in the education system now? I understand that this conversation could be brought up in college and talked about in debate. In the classroom, I'm not trying to blow up anybody else's children's minds, because obviously these are people's kids. And I'm more than willing to, once again, have this conversation with anybody. I don't know why you would teach sex to children at all. The 8th grade class where they teach boys and girls what happens is just scientifically, empirically facts. A boy's hormones are increasing, a girl's hormones are increasing, her eggs are now dropping, his balls are now dropping. You mix the two together and you have a clone of, somebody's huge bloodline and somebody's huge bloodline twice repeated on two sides that go all the way up. And, it's a miracle. It's kind of cool, but not when they're in school trying to learn arithmetic and, hopefully geometry so that they could cut wood and build great infrastructure for their growing family. The idea that adults have this idea that it's a good idea for children to have this conversation, boom. Let's go look at the leading study over here. I'm going to tell you the source. Leading study on after youth, and I'm going to get some biased stuff here. Youth transitions. First study, published 2022. This shit is what I'm talking about. The following 47 transgender adolescents who receive gender-affirming hormones, either estrogen or testosterone, to a mean of 349 days, 1 year. After starting the treatment, they found statistically significant increase in general well-being and statistically significant decreases in suicidality. Where are these guys today? That's cool. These people don't want to hurt themselves anymore. And I'm going to bring up why that's important, because I think people get really construed. Like, these people need help, and at no second is any life go wear a dress, Billy, before you jump off a bridge. Like, whoa. Come back here. I'll call you whatever you want before you jump off a bridge. No. No, I mean that with all kinds of love. So that's cool. But I really want to know where they're at today. But let's just say that that's the first thing that pulled up on Bing. Let's go to Google. I know what the question is. Google.com. Years after transition surgery. Common health problems. All right. A few things here. Gender-affirmed surgery is a durable treatment that improves overall patient well-being, high patient satisfaction, improved dysphoria, and reduced mental. Why do they list it as dysphoria? Right? Aren't you guys not dysphoria? You know what I mean? High risk of. And I'm not seeing anything that is alarming besides the first thing. Let's go back up because I didn't want to read the first thing. They have the National Health Institute long-term follow-up of people undergoing population-based cohort study. All 324 reassigned persons. Sweden from the outcome has ratio with 95% of mortality ability were obtained. Laws which were adjusted for every status. Bam. The overall morality for same-sex reassignments persons was higher during the follow-up than for controls of the same birth sex, particularly death from suicide. Sex reassignments persons also had increased risk for suicide attempts. In psychiatric inpatient care. Comparisons with controls matched females to male, but not males to females. Had a higher risk for criminal conviction than the respective birth controls. Not making this up. Conclusion from the National Library of Medicine. Persons with transsexualisms after sexual reassignments have considerably high risk of morality, sexual suicidal behavior, and psychiatric morbidity. It's a bit long here. In the general populations. Our findings suggest that sex reassignment, although alleviating gender dysphoria, may not suffice as treatment for transsexualism and should inspire improved psychiatrics. Okay. So we saw what Bing said. We saw what the actual doctors feel. I want you to now bring this into like reality. How do we function with reality knowing all this? Hear me out. Like we said earlier, it's been around already. Been around forever. Do what's right by people. I did a live stream on this before, full suit and everything, and I read this, and I don't think the Jewish community agrees with me, but or maybe they do. Maybe they just don't know, like I don't know. But eunuchs are men that back in the day would serve different roles. I can't feel myself, I don't know, not me, but they would do different things. And you got to remember that the Lord created both sides. He knows. So your interaction with anybody, He's watching. So above all of His children. But the idea that He constructed eunuchs as a piece of this design, these dudes that would back then scoop out their testicles and just live lives in servitude of loyalty, no threats to the nobility bloodline or all this other shit. You know what I mean? There's the idea that these men are mentioned in the Bible, not just mentioned in the Bible, that these men, these eunuchs, these people are not just mentioned in the Bible, but through prophecy are given uh, a blessing, I would say. I don't know how else to describe it. Let me read it to you and you decide for yourself because there's no single interpretation of this. And if you guys don't mind, because this is my live stream and I think I got enough time till I end it, I'm going to read from chapter 55. And we're going to start at verse 8. Starting at the very beginning, you can go ahead and do that, but we're going to read through 56 all the way until where I pull off. 1 second now. This is the word of the Lord through the prophet Isaiah. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways your ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, my thoughts than your thoughts. This is to those righteous people. This is to me. This is to righteous people. This is to the foolish. This is to the intelligent, the ignorant, the brave, the weak, the war fighter, the coward. This is to everybody. This doesn't miss a person. Everybody this is subjected to. For as the rain cometh down and the snow from the heaven, and then returneth not thither, but watereth the earth and maketh it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. I love this Bible. But good old King James. You gotta be in the mood for it, and I'm in the mood. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. So it's creation. For ye shall go out with joy, and be led forth with peace. The mountains and the hills shall break forth before you into singing, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands. Instead of the thorns shall come up the fir tree, and instead of the brier shall come up the myrtle tree. It shall be to the Lord for a name, for an everlasting sign that shall not be cut off. Listen. Thus saith the Lord, keep ye judgment. So know what's right from wrong. Don't think for 1 second I'm condoning right for right. I'm not saying what's wrong is right. I know that my own personal behavior is wrong when it's wrong. Does that make sense? And Do justice, for my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness is to be revealed. Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the Son of Man that layeth hold on to it, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and keepeth his hand from doing any evil. Neither let the son of the stranger that hath joined himself to the Lord speak, saying, the Lord hath utterly separated me from his people. Neither let the eunuch say, behold, I am a dry tree. For thus saith the Lord unto the eunuchs that keep my Sabbaths. Wait, so now this doesn't apply to people that don't follow him, the creator of the universe. So, hypothetically speaking, if you chose to live on this earth and be a eunuch and keep my Sabbaths, that's what he said, keep the Sabbaths, and choose the things that please me, and take hold of my covenant, you have to control yourself. It might be hard, but I know people that are strong and they do it. Even unto them I will give in my house and within my walls a place and a name better than of sons and of daughters. I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off. Not to be confused, but like idols or people that people praise. God's to be praised. He tells you to look for his son and then explores earth. But right there, his words are not going to go out and then come back void. And then when Jesus was talking to people, and this is where these videos when Jesus was talking to people, he didn't say treat your neighbor anything but like yourself, you know? And let's just say, I don't know, every person that has ever been close to me, that knows that I love them, and that has revealed that secret to me, there's never been a question for them. I don't know personally why, because I love women, and the Lord's blessed me with enough for my eyes for the rest of my time. I'm good, you know, like God's good, and I'm content. But at the same time, I don't know. Girls liking girls, like forever inside of my head. Do you know that there was like angels that fell? Like women are beautiful, you know what I mean? Like, bruh. So I understand. It's not like I'm over here like, oh, casting. I'm casting no stones. I'm actually the guy picking up stones and picking them in my pocket. I want to hold all the stones. I want to hold them all, you know. I'm throwing none. No stones getting thrown. Just love. And the idea, this is the idea. Everybody's fighting against sin. Sin's evil. The idea that adults doing adult things where no man's going to judge you. No man should judge you about those adult things that you do, heterosexually or whatever type of sexuality that is. Those adult things. The idea that it tried to involve, no, that's where it stops. You should never abuse the responsibility entrusted to adults to not there's a word that's better than this, and I want to just say pollute kids' minds with evil. Like, what are you doing? Why? Hello, wake up. The normal person, wake up. Not woke up, wake up and realize like what the freak is going on in a world that has existed this generation thousands of years. And I'm in a Latino politics class, and we're talking about the spread of like colonialism and the Catholic Church, how all these people are killed in Christ's name. And do you know what? They couldn't have me back in the day because who knows what side I would have been placed on. You know, I got curly hair now. The idea is that God's great, and the creation of this universe gives him his willingness to have what's written in his word. Yeah. Because here's the part that I feel like, involves me. Also, the sons of the strangers that join themselves to the Lord to serve him and to love the name of the Lord and to be his servants. Everyone that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it. I'm like, it says polluting it. Boom. And taketh hold of my covenant. Even them I bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon my altar, for my house shall be called an house of prayer for all my people. The God which gathered the outcast of Israel saith, Yet will I gather others to him, besides those that are gathered unto him. The idea. You're alive, you have a spirit, God's real, socialism sucks. Communism sucks. We only keep this beautiful democracy if we want to keep it, so let's keep it, and let's keep the dysphoria. That's what the doctors called it. Up to professionals, like till the age of 18. Like, hey kid, I know you want to go beat up Britney, dude, but I can't give you enough estrogen to where you're allowed to do that, Or, hey, I know you don't feel comfortable with the way you look right now, but you can dress however you want, like until you turn 18. And at that point, you could call one of these doctors. Mm-hmm. All right. From the BNN, Mr. J out.